Welcome to this tutorial on Azure Synapse Orchestration, where we will explore the key concepts and best practices for designing and managing data pipelines in Azure Synapse Analytics. First, let's start with the basics. Azure Synapse is a cloud-based analytics service that allows you to integrate and analyze data from various sources. Orchestration in Azure Synapse refers to the process of managing and automating data pipelines, which involves creating, scheduling, and monitoring workflows that extract, transform, and load data into a centralized repository. To get started with Azure Synapse Orchestration, you need to create a Synapse workspace and link it to your Azure subscription. Once you have set up your workspace, you can create pipelines using the Synapse Studio interface. A pipeline is a logical grouping of activities that are executed in a specific order. You can add activities to a pipeline, such as data ingestion, data transformation, and data loading, and configure them to run in a specific sequence. One of the key concepts in Azure Synapse Orchestration is the use of triggers. Triggers allow you to schedule pipelines to run at specific times or intervals, or in response to events such as the arrival of new data. You can create triggers using the Synapse Studio interface and configure them to run pipelines on a schedule or on demand. Another important concept is the use of parameters and variables. Parameters and variables allow you to pass data between activities and pipelines, and to configure pipelines to run with different input values. This makes it easy to reuse pipelines and activities across different workflows and data sources. When designing and managing data pipelines in Azure Synapse, there are several best practices to keep in mind. First, make sure to use a modular design approach, where each pipeline and activity has a specific and well-defined purpose. This makes it easier to manage and maintain your pipelines over time. Second, use triggers and scheduling to automate your pipelines and reduce manual intervention. Finally, use parameters and variables to make your pipelines flexible and reusable. In terms of practical examples, let's consider a scenario where you need to ingest data from a cloud storage service, transform it using a data warehouse, and load it into a reporting database. You can create a pipeline in Azure Synapse that uses a copy activity to ingest the data, a data flow activity to transform the data, and a load activity to load the data into the reporting database. You can then schedule the pipeline to run on a daily basis using a trigger, and configure it to use parameters and variables to pass data between activities. In conclusion, Azure Synapse Orchestration is a powerful tool for designing and managing data pipelines in the cloud. By following the best practices outlined in this tutorial, you can create efficient, scalable, and flexible data pipelines that meet the needs of your organization. Remember to use a modular design approach, automate your pipelines using triggers and scheduling, and use parameters and variables to make your pipelines flexible and reusable. With Azure Synapse Orchestration, you can unlock the full potential of your data and drive business insights and decision-making.